Hear, Oh Yashar'Al, the great I am, the great spirit is the only power for you. The great I am, the great spirit is one. Speak peace into the ears of the people so they could see on this great day of rest. Rise, Oh Yashar'Al. Welcome to World War III. Our reference today will be Leviticus chapter 20, verse 24. And this discussion will be on halal and kosher foods versus ancient Hebrew diet. Now, allopathic method is a modern chemical derived medicinal approach to cure sicknesses and disease. Homeopathic medicine is cultural or natural medicine. At this point, Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening and our sister group, When Walking Conscientious Objector, would like to say that our viewers and readers that we are not a racist religious hate group. We simply live here. Again, we also would like to thank traditional African shamanism, their medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and Ayurveda or Hindu medicine from the ancient Far East, and Ayurveda, which is life knowledge or life science. This is their ancient message or medicine. And we would like to thank them for their steady approach in maintaining their cultural medicines, because again, medicine comes from your culture and your people, and the land that you live on will assist you. That's the point. That's the first point that I like to make in this study. Again, in modern scientists, the scientific method, they call it pseudoscience. They call in cultural medicine pseudoscience because it's something that they didn't conjure up, I guess. The Lashawan Qadash, which is our form of calling the Holy Scriptures, is specific about four things: fat kidneys, the Caul, which is the flap above the liver, and blood. Leviticus chapter 7 holds a perpetual statute for sacrifice, also known as Holocaust, barbecue, or cooking. An ancient biblical sacrifice was what you call cooking today. Kidneys regulate toxic liquid removal from the body. The liver removes toxins from the blood and regulates pH level of the blood. In a sense, the ancient Hebrew sacrifice, which is cooking today, removes all the organs involved with toxin or parasitic removal to keep you healthy. In Hebrew terms means to keep you whole. That's how much the Most High Ahaya loves the children he chose, or the people he chose for that matter. Fat is the electromagnetic energy storage, is an electromagnetic energy store, where vibrant energy is held. For example, milk, butter, lard, and 88% lean meat still contains animal fat. These are not acceptable in a Hebrew sacrifice, which you call cooking. The Lashawan Qadash shows the ancient Hebrews how to remove this fat, of which belongs to the Most High during sacrifice. Blood is the life source of the living, as Abel's blood cried up to the ground, or cried up from the ground, when his brother murdered him. The blood of innocent animals also cry up as well. Speaking of blood, take a wild guess as what milk is made of. Also, the land of milk and honey is constantly suggested to the people of the book. Now, once you figure out what honey does to milk, you will know and realize why it is directed to lactose intolerant people. The Most High has no pleasure in sacrificing, cooking. That is found throughout the Bible. Again, one more time so this is clear. The Most High has no pleasure in sacrifices, cooking, barbecue, Holocaust. He has no pleasure in it. It's scriptural. The famed Dr. Sebi is on record quoting Finnish writer Paavo Ariola, PhD. In his book, How to Get Well, quote, "If your ancestors are European, your body is programmed to digest milk, lactose. If your ancestors are Africans or Indians, your body is not programmed to digest milk." Unquote. Now, this is significant because there are people claiming to be the descendants of ancient Hebrews. And you got in this book a land of milk and honey. Again, look it up. What honey does to milk. Look that up. One day again, that's for lactose intolerant people. God is telling you something. One day, a bunch of human trafficking, murdering, lying thieves killed ancient culture, and by replacing it, they replaced it with the scientific method, as you see today. And this is a true story. Medicine, archaeology, and history is now given to you in a scientific method approach, displacing all what the ancients said about themselves, and they are allowing you to listen to the captors or the suppressors tell you what medicine, history, and knowledge is all about. The Federal Drug Administration, FDA, and their guidelines, they say any natural remedy cannot claim to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease. What do they offer you? Only over-the-counter and regulated suppressants. Just like the human trafficking patrollers do when they suppress you on the streets of America, streets of the United States. Same thing. Eating as a form of preventive medicine is called pseudoscience under the scientific method approach. For example, kosher and halal foods prepared for you in a delicatessen, a convenient or grocery store goes contrary to holy scriptures. An outright Satanist or a member of any other faith group could possibly be preparing your food for you, your sacrifice, preparing it for you, transferring all their energies into the prepared meat you buy. You are supposed to prepare or cook for yourself with your own people, with your family, or whoever it is that is in agreement with you. That's biblical. By going to the local store-bought sources, your sacrifice or your barbecue or your Holocaust or your cooking is what the psalmist calls the sacrifices of the wicked is abomination. Complementary or alternative medicine is not alternative at all, but specific to the people group. I mean, here's the Hippocratic oath that modern science attest to. Quote, I swear, calling upon Apollo, the physician, and Cepheus, Hygeia, and Panacea, and all the gods and goddesses as witnesses, that I will fulfill this oath and this contract, according to my ability and judgment. Again, they're calling on foreign gods to suppress you. This is what the modern scientific method is doing for you. Now, here's the final note. Excuse me, folks. Now, the God of the Bible, the God of the Hebrew Israelite Bible, compares the sacrificing of an ox, of a bullock, of these animals, to killing of a man. Comparing killing animals to the killing of a man. And you can find that in Isaiah chapter 66. Your own hands were to offer this sacrifice because you're passing your vibrant energy. You're passing all that you say as, hey, I'm sorry. These are vibrant energies. You're passing into that animal, into the toxic parts of that animal as a sacrifice to say, God, please forgive me. I'm sorry. While you're cooking it. Your own hands were supposed to do this. Now, sacrifices were not to be refrigerated or leftovers held to the next day. It wasn't supposed to happen. These acts were made a perpetual statute for the children of Israel forever, to continue doing this forever. But they didn't do it. And again, the sacrifices were also considered an atonement for the children of Jacob, Israel. I mean, this is a law specifically for Hebrew Israelites, for them in the land that they lived on. A part of the ritualistic acts, one must have a sacrifice and a scapegoat. So your local markets aren't selling scapegoats as a part of your ritual sacrifice. So your meal that you're having today is not biblically ready at all. In fact, making halal and their kosher meals not kosher at all if there's no scapegoat. The Jewish religious folks don't want to recognize the Messiah, who was a man, who was pretty much sacrificed for the children of Israel. They don't want to recognize that in their Targums and in their Talmuds. So, we'll allow them to have their records, what they've made for themselves. We're not cutting that from them. Here you're getting an Indigenous Hebrew Israelite awakening, so that you can understand clearly what's actually happening for us. Instead of believing that the Messiah has finished all that sacrificing stuff for us, we don't have to do that anymore. They want to renew a temple for sacrificing. And the Most High Ahaya, which is I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he clearly hates it. He clearly hates sacrificing. And it's found throughout the Bible. Yet they want to go and create a new temple for sacrificing. Daniel clearly prophesied of the Messiah, which was on this earth over 2,000 years ago. I'm going to end this message right here on a little note of peace. I am a Hebrew Israelite. I am also a conscientious objector, and a minister of peace. Hebrew Israelite out.